Oh, great. There goes the cat. There goes laptop almost fell too. I think that's a cherry. The darker red one is a cherry, and the lighter pinkish one is a strawberry flavor ice pop. Just like screwing with people's heads sometimes, you know what I mean? You know, in the movie Hackers, where they're like about to do like the reverse surveillance scene, where they find out that they're being framed, and then they install these like hidden security devices that they homebrew, they create for themselves to spy on the agents who are actually who are, you know, working against them because of like a false report or a false claim that they had that they had distributed a virus of sorts. Anyways, and then it's like how I'm like sometimes like to just mess around with some people's heads. Not Unicorn Girl. I'm basically on her side at all times in this type of situation, especially. But um, I'm saying like they're screwing around with us. You know what I'm saying? So I'm doing it back at them. Self defense. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. But that's not how you go about doing things. You are supposed to try to go call a lawyer's office and handle it in a courtroom, right? Well, that's only if I had done something wrong. When I can guarantee you, oh shit, based off of you know, what they're reiterating or rehashing is more behavior from before I was 21 and under. While I was 21 and under, you do have a certain window of freedom in certain areas that become restricted beyond the age of 21 in some cases. You know what I mean? So it's just it's just as quote unquote. It's just as so he sounds nervous, right? That means he must have done something he wasn't supposed to be doing. I don't like it when he makes fun of our accents or that he's implying that we're all Italian. It doesn't matter. Do some archaeology here. Just put that back in. This is something that people in their 30s don't bother, making a fuss about, when there's something that leaks on the base of a glass, where when you're not living with your parents, you wouldn't have to worry about it because it's usually your own type of like furniture in your own apartment. Versus when you're living somewhere with someone, it's someone else's furniture, so you're going to have to deal with hearing it. It's like that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Oops. But people in there, who are 30 and older, usually they're living on their own. By that time, they're not living with their parents, usually. I was living on my own with my sister, basically, for 2 years before I had moved here. I was doing okay. What we're dealing with here on the exterior of the exterior of my living space, from what I'm perceiving, is there are people who think that you can that they are like a kind of like a sub Congress around the state, or not even. They are taking people's workplace ethical codes, or the workplace policy, workplace policies where if you want to work, if someone wants to work for a business, they're not supposed to be dating the customers type thing, right? But that there's no real legal system for that. They would just be fired. They are not allowed to tell people who are customers that they're not allowed to date someone who works at a place, because that, and make it into a legal situation like that ahead of time. Because what happens if they genuinely want to leave? Let's say the person who works there would rather leave their workplace just to be with the customer. You know what I'm saying? You can't blame the customer. That's what makes a professional a professional. Professional should know better. If that's the type of job they want to continue having, that they have to somehow manage their personal time, so that it doesn't affect their work. You know, and they're making it as they're trying to put the blame or lean on ordinary people who could just, like, they're saying like, oh, you can't date a nurse. If, like, how many, I have a hospital record, so there have been plenty of female clinicians or nurses I've met along the way who showed interest in me in some ways. Wait, I'm not saying who, because there's been other, like, many hospitals I've been to, you know what I mean, in the past. So I'm just saying arbitrarily that there's been a few, that were maybe interested in me or something for a very short amount of time, and it was a bit unrealistic in the real world of, being financially supportive enough in the past. But they're trying to make it seem like it's a highly illegal thing for someone to continue living a normal life after an injury. Like, okay, all right, I pulled ligaments in my right ankle when I was in 7th grade. And I took, that was like around the time I started taking pain medication for it, but whatever. They say, I remember being told, when your ankle heals, it took about a month. It was torn ligaments, so I was like limping when I was just walking. So